Welcome to Between the Posts. It is my great pleasure. This week, I'm with Matty Gale. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Tommy. Great to be with you.
You are the Div 2 specialist, but I want to talk about you a little bit first. Tell us a bit about your background, because you've come from AFL Asia, is that right?
Certainly have. Still currently an AFL Asia Advisory Board member. Spent 10 years in Japan. I've coached the Japan Goannas at Asian Championships. Played plenty of roles with AFL Asia, including president for a couple of years, umpiring, coach and development manager, all sorts. So great to be back on Ghana land, and thanks for allowing me to join you this afternoon.
Fantastic, and we had a little interlude in the toilet. I'll tell you more. We worked out that I'm actually teaching at your school occasionally. It's a small world. We won't mention the school, but it's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very small world. Big country town, Adelaide.
Yes, no, beautifully done. Hey, mate, we have got tons on, as always. Who are our division specialists tonight?
So obviously got yours truly doing the Division 2 and Vince Cosmite covering all the action from Division 5.
Now, you are aware that we do Division 1 every week, right?
Certainly am. Certainly am.
And you got to see Division 1 in action tonight. Give me a rating out of 10.
Absolutely superb. 9.5. Probably 9.75. Nadia Comaneci.
Nadia. Actually didn't think I was that good, but I really appreciate everyone for watching and the kind words we do receive. The support, and you would have noticed we started breaking up some of these segments on our Facebook pages, so you go to the division that you love straight away, which is good, isn't it?
Fast track all of it for you.
Yes. Another man that makes his big return this week is that man, Phil Herden, with the weekly wrap. I love watching his wraps on the Facebook pages. They are sensational. What else we got on tonight, mate? What else is there?
Plenty of awards to give away, and the Mark of the Year and the Goal of the Week. So, Mark of the Week and the Goal of the Week, plenty of award winners as well.
Just so our viewers know a bit more about you. Now, you're out there doing a Div 1 game every week as well, are you?
Certainly did. Had the pleasure of going down to Curran Rolton on the weekend and commentating just alone. Solo figure, doing the 133-point shellacking down there at Curran Rolton between the PAC and Old Iggy's, and big shout out to Jordan Neal.
Yeah.
We'll make sure you get some Archies this week. I gave you some size 11s. We'll bring the 13s this week. So I'll be back again.
13s. I reckon we've got the 13s right here. I'm not sure if it's on camera. We've got a nice pair of browns. You can dress them up or down. Archie's the best thong guaranteed. We've got, of course, the goals and marks of the weeks. You and I are going to have a little buddy bet as well. If you're going to go one-on-one with the great one, I'm going right in these buddy bets. Tony Neal, what a gambler. And I'll tell you what, I own all his houses, and he's off on holiday, so he must be gambling. Must be doing all right. Buddy bet, gamble responsibly. We'll have a look at, obviously, the Dartfish data, stats that matter, the Farmers League Coach of the Week, and so much more. Only one thing left. You'll strap yourself in. We'll be back with more Between the Posts.
Well, good day, footy fans. My name's Phil Herden. Welcome to the weekend wrap. Thanks to O'Neill Sportswear, a chance to go through all the A-grade results and ladders and upcoming big games in the Adelaide Footy League. Round 6 yesterday, plenty of results to go through. Let's start. CMAX Clinical Research Division 7 and start with a draw between Mawson Lakes and Mitchell Park, the first premiership point for Mawson Lakes this season. OSB Lonsdale, big road trip up to Houghton, came away with a 39-point win. Para Hills, 6-goal winners again on the road. In fact, it was a good weekend for road teams in Division 7. Para Hills, 6-goal winners. Ingle Farm, 52-point winners at Hackham. For the ladder, in our CMAX Clinical Research Division 7, Ingle Farm and Para Hills have broken it open, both at a 5-1 record. Flinders Uni and Houghton at 4-2. OSB Lonsdale, a game and a half inside the 5. For Mitchell Park with that draw, keeping them ahead of Hackham, Mawson Lakes at least on the board with that draw. Moving to the O'Neill Sportswear Division 6, Adelaide Lutheran went down to Fitzroy by 95 points. Again, lots of road wins here. Salisbury defeated Greenacres Greenacres defeated Salisbury by 27 points. Rosewater took care of St. Paul's by 23. Marion defeated Central United by 37. And here's the surprise. Smithfield, first win on the board and the biggest win of the round. Having copped some hiding themselves, they finally dished out one. 20-goal winners to get their first premiership points since 2020. They're probably still celebrating down at the Cattery at Smithfield. What does that do for the ladder? Greenacres still unbeaten. Marion a win behind, Fitzroy another half game behind, and then Adelaide Lutheran. Salisbury in the 5, that draw keeps them ahead of Central United. Rosewater a couple of wins, St Paul's and Smithfield now with 1 each, and it's Brahma Lodge bringing up the rear in the O'Neill Sportswear Division 6. Game of the round here will be 3rd versus 2nd as Fitzroy host Marion. Wayfield Sports Clinic Division 5, Trinity Old Scholars down Blackfriars by 12 goals. Colonel Light Garden stayed top 3 with an 67-point win over Eastern Park. Kilburn stayed unbeaten, 100 points plus over Pulteney. Woodville South will still be kicking themselves, 6 goals 20. That is 9 more scoring shots. Elizabeth just that little bit more accuracy. Another narrow win to the Eagles, this one by 1 point. And finally, Jeps Cross in a narrow encounter at Fork Reserve stayed unbeaten with a 6-point win. That's top 2 versus bottom spot in the division. Pretty narrow result there. The ladder, Kilburn and Jeps Cross, they meet this Saturday at Jeps Cross. Game of the round, probably game of the round across the Holland Adelaide Footy League. Colonel Light Gardens in 3rd spot. Trinity, Elizabeth. Look at Elizabeth's percentage, 3 and 3, 36%. That's because of those narrow wins that they've had. Blackfriars, Woody South and Pulteney are a game out. Eastern Park and Croydon at the moment in the relegation positions. But don't stress just yet, it is early days. Game of the week as mentioned, Jeps Cross hosting Kilburn. 2 unbeaten sides. There will be only one this time next week. 9 News Division 4, Lockleys the Demons handled Plympton pretty easily by 10 plus goals, as did Walkerville over Portland by 86. The Hounds of Hectorville defeated an inaccurate CBC LC by 7 points. Kenilworth over Morphy Parks, and Paraka stayed above the rest of the pack with an 88-point win over Mitcham. The ladder in the 9 News Division 4, Lockleys and Paraka tied at 5 and 1. CBC and Hectorville 4 and 2. Morphy Parks, Plympton, Kenilworth, 3 teams for one final spot at the moment, even money 3 and 3. Walkerville a game back, but decent percentage. Mitcham a game further back with 1 win. Portland yet to get on the board in 2023. A couple of good games coming up. Morphy Parks 5th, hosting Paraka 2nd in the 9 News Division 4. Plympton and Kenilworth, if Paraka get up, the winner of Plympton and Kenilworth will be in the 5 this time next week. Division 3, Hope Valley over Scotch by 11 points. Demons still unbeaten. Smosh West Lakes, 3 goals winners over Westminster. A big game here for only Mercedes Jets on the road. 45-point winners over Flinders Park. See the Jets rise up the ladder. Not a great week or two for Gazer. They went down 91 points to Modbury to stay winless. And Pembroke sort of entrenched themselves in the 5, just that little bit more, with a 6-point win at Seaton Ramblers. The Division 3 ladder, Hope Valley all there alone, unbeaten 6 and 0. Modbury 5 and 1. They meet next week. Hope Valley hosting Modbury. Should be a great game. The Jets have risen up the ladder to 3rd with their win over Flinders Park. Flinders Park dropping to 4th, and Pembroke in the 5. Smosh just percentage out, although it's 12%, a fair difference there. Scotch half a win back. And then it's probably Seaton Ramblers, Westminster Old Scholars along with Gazer trying to get their seasons up and running. Mention the game of the week there. Hope Valley and Modbury, 1st versus 2nd in Division 3. Breakthrough Mental Health Foundation Division 2, Henley beat Adelaide University by 7 points. Boss Camden over Ross Trevor by 3. Golden Grove, they're up to the top of the ladder now, 23-point win on the road at Athelston. Payneham Normal Union kept North Haven winless, victors by 24 points. And Salisbury North, huge Indigenous game. Tommy Trevor was there, the Premier was there. Not sure who was the bigger of those stars. Plenty of Indigenous stars as well at the club. And Salisbury North got up over Edwardstown by 31 points. Hopefully to put an end to what's been a tricky couple of weeks at the home of the Hawks. The ladder, Golden Grove and Payneham bursting away from the pack at 5 and 1. Athelston, Foss Camden 4 and 2. Adelaide Uni and Rocks battling now along with Edwardstown, all 3 and 3. Salisbury North obviously have been hit with some losses due to their registrations are 2 and 4, but climbing up the ladder. Henley, with their first win, are on the board. North Haven yet to get there. Division 2 game of the week. I reckon it's Adelaide Uni and Rock, 2, 3 and 3 teams, 5th versus 6th for an early spot in the top 5. Leaves us with Division 1. Karen Rolton Oval, Prince Alfred, massive win there, 133 points. Old Ignatians just 2 goals. Spock made it 2 wins on the field in a row. Again, a difficult week for both clubs. St. Peter's ended out the victors there by 13 points. Tea Tree Gully at home held to 2 goals, 9 by Port District. Districts have won 3 in a row now, the reigning premiers. Glenunga stayed unbeaten, 10-goal winners over Broadview. And a bit of a slug fest at Brighton, 10 goals in the opening quarter, 8 for the rest of the match. Sacred Heart got moving in the second quarter, slowly but surely put Brighton away to win the Battle of Brighton Road by 29 points. The ladder, Glenunga unbeaten, Prince Alfred in second, Sacred Heart, Port District with those 3 wins in a row, Tea Tree Gully all at 4 and 2. Then a 2-game gap, so Division 1 just starting to separate a bit. Broadview, Brighton with 2 wins, and then Goodwood Saints, St. Peter's and Old Nations with 1 apiece. Games next week in Division 1. Broadview are hosting St. Peter's. Goodwood Saints and Old Ignatians, massive for those 2 clubs. Sacred Heart hosting Tea Tree Gully, that's 3rd versus 5th, will be big. Prince Alfred are hosting Brighton. And Port District and Glenunga is our Stream Team game of the week from Larks Reserve. The defending premiers against the undefeated league leaders. Should be a dead set cracker. Myself, Tommy Jabor, and the Filming Footy crew will be there live from 2 o'clock. That just leaves Team of the Week. And this one was an obvious choice as soon as I saw the result. First win since 2020. Club down, out, dead, buried, cremated, but back. And despite a few thumpings early, on the winners list, Smithfield, the Cats, first A-grade victory since the 22nd of August 2020. That's well and truly deserving of Phil's Team of the Week. Well done on your faith, your persistence, and your tenacity. Hope you really enjoyed that victory yesterday. Alrighty, that wraps up the weekend wrap between the posts coming your way Wednesday night. Make sure you check that out. Plenty of other promotions, news, it's all there on the Adelaide Footy League Facebook page. Thanks to O'Neill Sportswear for their support. Thanks for watching. I'm Phil Hurden saying until we're back next week, enjoy your footy. Well, good day, footy fans. My name's Phil Hurden. Welcome to the Women's Wrap for Sunday, May 28. I can't say round 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 because different divisions, different rounds, and even different teams. But this is thanks to O'Neill Sportswear. Let's have a look at all the women's results over yesterday's games. And before we get underway, go away for a week and teams change. As you would already know, most of you, that there's been a couple of movements, some reseedings. Greenacres has moved from Division 3 to Division 4. Ingle Farm has moved from Division 4 to Division 6 so they can play some games a little bit more at their level. What does that mean across the 6 divisions? Division 1 unchanged at 8 teams. Division 2 was 8, Blackfriars out, unchanged at 7 teams. Division 3 loses Greenacres from 8 down to 7. Division 4 pretty much does a swap. Loses Ingle Farm, gains Greenacres. Division 5 is unchanged. Division 6 gains Ingle Farm, goes from 7 to 8. They're the moves. So, let's start. Millie's Bakery, Division 6 now with 4 games. And Ingle Farm got their first score of the season, and it was a goal. Athelston still beat them by 35 points. Other wins to Golden Grove over Flinders Park. Marion in a closer one, 11 points over Goodwood Saints. And unfortunately, Tea Tree Gully, the forfeit by Mitchell Park, claimed the win there. Keeps Tea Tree Gully unbeaten. Athelston right there as well. Marion, Golden Grove. Flinders Park just outside of the 4. Women's have top 4s. Goodwood Saints, well, Mitchell Park and Ingle Farm will meet at some point. Someone's going to get a win at that time. The games this week, Athelston Tea Tree Gully is the match at Max Amber Sports Field. That is second hosting first. In the Villiers Bakery, Division 6. Powerade, Division 5. Modbury over North Haven by 16. Woodville South kicked 12 goals, beat Elizabeth by 53 points. Edwardstown in a low-scoring affair, 8-point winners over Kilburn. And Loretto took care of Salisbury North, by 20. Loretto took care of Salisbury North by 25 points. The ladder, Woodville South unbeaten, Loretto with 1 loss, North Haven and Modbury in the 4, Edwardstown and Kilburn just out of it. Elizabeth, the team looking for their first win. Game of the week, Loretto and Woodville South, 1v2 again, as per Division 6, also in the Power 8 Division 5. That game Friday night at the Chateau, Campbelltown Memorial Oval. Friday night lights, and should be a good game in the Power 8 Division 5. The North Mouthguards Division 4, remember Greenacres came in, Ingle Farm went out. Greenacres on the board, 1 goal 2. Still a hefty loss though to Mitcham by 117 points. Scotch went down to Hectorville by 16 points. Eastern Park over Lockleys in the hell of a game between the two Demon sides, 21 points. West Croydon took care of Fitzroy by 20 points. The ladder in the Neomorph Mouthguards Division 4, Eastern Park and Hectorville, 5 wins. Scotch, Mitcham on 4, Lockleys with 3. West Croydon 2, Fitzroy 1. Greenacres, hey, they have a percentage. It's only up from here. Division 4, not first versus second, but hey, first versus third, not a bad substitute. Eastern Park hosting Scotch Old Collegians. To Division 3, Pembroke over Pulteney by 15. Flinders Park kept Salisbury to 1 goal to win by 53. And Jeffs Cross defeated Kenilworth in a high-scoring affair, 10 goals for the game. Not often you score 4 goals and lose, but that happened to Kenilworth. Flinders Uni Jeffs Cross up by 16 points. Hope Valley with the bye. Pembroke still the team to beat with 5 wins. You can see the ladder there. Flinders Park, Hope Valley, Pulteney, Kenilworth, Jeffs Cross and Salisbury. That's the 9 News Division 3. Game of the week, Hope Valley hosting Pembroke. That's third hosting first. That'll be at the Hope Valley Sports Club at 4:45 on Saturday. Division 2, Tea Tree Gully had the bye. Westminster over Angle Vale. Unfortunately a forfeit. Golden Grove getting the win. Gazers expense. And Goody Saints pitched a shutout down at Brighton Road against the Bombers. A 69-point win to Goodwood. Has the ladder. Tea Tree Gully unbeaten. Goody Saints and Golden Grove not that far behind. Bit of a gap then to Westminster, Gazer, Anglevale and Brighton. Game of the week in Division 2. Well, actually pretty good round all up. Goody Saints and Golden Grove is second versus third. Westminster and Tea Tree Gully is fourth hosting first. Anglevale and Gazer, sixth hosting fifth. Winner might be in the fourth next Saturday night. To the Division 1 and the reserves, and yeah, really is a battle between who can get the highest percentage here between Morphy Parks and Payneham Norwood Union. The Falcons by 88, Morphy Parks by 42. Elsewhere, Smosh West Lakes 37-point winners over Old Ignatians, and Broadview kept Adelaide Uni goals with a 7-goal win. You can see the percentage here. Payneham Norwood Union jumps ahead of Morphy Parks, unbeaten percentages in the 90s. Broadview trying to keep pace, 4-1. Smosh West Lakes 3-2. Happy Valley a game outside the 4. Adelaide Uni a game further back. Old Ignatians and Henley must be meeting pretty soon to hopefully get that first win on the board. Div 1 reserves. Move to the Division 1 in the league, and Payneham Norwood Union won at Shark Park by 15 points. Broadview down Adelaide Uni by 38. Smosh and Old Ignatians, Smosh getting up by 17. And Morphy Parks kept Happy Valley winless. Of course, the Vikings all on the road at the moment. A 49-point victory. The ladder in the Women's Division 1, Payneham and Norwood Union and Morphy Parks, as in the reserves, are unbeaten in the league, and Broadview, as in the reserves, are third, and Smosh, as in the reserves, are coming fourth. Henley, Adelaide Uni, Old Ignatians and Happy Valley. Bit of a gap between the top 4 and the bottom 4. Just 1 win separating the bottom 4 there. The game of the week, Broadview hosting Morphy Parks. That is third versus second. Henley and Happy Valley at Henley High. Is that a chance for the Vikings to get that first win? We'll find out. So plenty of action. All teams back in action yesterday. Of course, the staggered rounds because we have staggered finals and staggered grand final days. But now, pretty much, it's all teams playing this week with, of course, King's birthday the following week off. So there'll be a women's wrap next Sunday. Thanks to O'Neill Sportswear for their support of the segment. Thanks to you for watching. Till the next women's wrap, hope you enjoy your footy.
And welcome to the Division 1 weekly wrap with Tony Javor from right here at headquarters. String between the posts. Again, this week it was a 4 out of 5. It was Goodwood. I thought they'd get back on the winnings list today. They've cost me. Let's have a look at this week's results. We'll just overlay them for you now. You can see Goodwood, 5 losses in a row. I don't ever remember that happening in my time in the amateurs. It probably has, but I certainly don't remember it. Everything else went as expected, certainly for this tipster, according to script with the other 4 results. Let's have a look at the Stream Team match of the round now. Interesting to note as well, the Stream Team van was actually in at Salisbury North for Indigenous Day. What a day that was. I know that's Division 2. Check out the other segment to hear all about that. But the match of the round was Brighton and Sacred Heart at Brighton. And it was Brighton 7-10-52, suffering a 29-point defeat at the hands of Sacred Heart 11-17-71. The major goal scorers of Sacred Heart were Kakura with 4 and Mad Dog Morgan with 3. Our player focus in footage is Beau McRae, number 29 for Shock. He was outstanding throughout the day. Have a look at his highlights, a real impact player. Having a look at the Dartfish stats that matter and deep diving into those analytics and working out where did Sacred Heart get a hold of Brighton? Well, they had 16 more inside 50s and that resulted in 9 more scoring shots. They're an efficient team. They also took 28 more marks. Contested marks, 16-33. So they doubled their contested marks, 17 more contested marks. Some big, strong footballers around the ground. They've got a lot of good recruits who've done a lot of good things, and they're all starting to appear in the best players and the goal kickers. That's why Sacred Heart now find themselves in 3rd spot on the ladder. Looking at the awards as it was the designated Stream Team game, so there's all these great awards and hopefully some great photos. There was no TJ award of Archie's thongs. Oh, Archie's. Best footwear guaranteed. That actually was given out in the Div 2 game. But the Moseley Voucher Best Team Player went to that man, Sean Tapp, former Glenelg centre half forward. Tappy. Well done to Sean. The Neomorph Mouthguard Player of the Day, awarded by Phil, was to Harry Morgan. So congratulations to Harry, putting together quite a nice season, the former Eagles player. And Best on Ground New Balance Voucher. And Dartfish Beanie went to that man who'd been watching Beau McRae. Okay, looking at the Roll the Dice Player of the Year award, of course, that's 5% in a racehorse, but $7,500. It was 1 vote to Nigel Osborne from Brighton District Old Scholars. Nigel, he's a good footballer. They're better with him in the team, and he consistently gets in the best players. Well done to Aussie. 2 votes to Seb Kerrish. I think that might be the second, perhaps even the 3rd time he's polled this year. And that man you've been looking at, Beau McRae. Final comments on the game. Sacred Heart too good. They're going to play finals. Let's look at our next game. And, some interesting reading. I suggested Port's tackling pressure would be the thing that would get them over the line. Now, the tackling didn't pan out that way, but it was Tea Tree Gully at home, 2-9-21. I don't remember them only kicking 2 goals at home in a long time. But Port District 7-6-48. Real battle of the defences, a dour struggle. Not ideal conditions as it was drizzled most of the day, but a 27-point win to Port, a crucial win that sees them also in the top 5, locked in a real battle with Tea Tree Gully. Major goal scorers, only multiple goal scorers were all from Port District. It was that man Kenny Carpenter again with the brace, along with McKay and Batty also kicking 2 apiece. Our player focus in footage, you might have heard of this guy, his name's Sam Gray, number 5 for Port District, formerly of Port Power and the Swans. I watched him one game this year, he was best on ground, and clearly, again, best on ground for Port. He had 24 touches, but of those 24 touches, he's highly efficient and 20 of them are kicks. He does damage with his touches, and that was certainly noticed by our Division 1 caller of the game. He had 6 clearances, he's tied in the clinches, and 5 tackles. He works really hard when he doesn't have the ball. Having a look at the overall stats for the game, interesting to note Port District had 67 more touches and 38 more effective kicks. This led to 21 more inside 50s. Wasn't a high scoring game, but it suggests that repeat pressure, repeat stoppages in the forward line, that was what got them over the line. Roll the Dice Player of the Year time, and they were all Port District players getting the votes. It was 1 vote to the Church Mouse, Cooper Gaffney, does not speak. 2 votes, Louis Sharrod, and 3 votes, Sam Gray. Louis Sharrod putting together quite a nice season. Final comments about the game. Port District are going to be hard to stop. They're 4-2. Premiership hangover, the thought of that's probably taken away. But let's have a look at this week's game before we pass final judgment on them. Our next game was at Spock. It was Caterer Oval, of course, Spock versus Goodwood. It was St Peter's 9-8-62, a 13-point win over Goodwood, 6-13-49. Major goal scorer as well. For Spock, they had a couple of boys get a brace. It was Brett Russell, and Hugh Hazeman. Now, our player in focus on footage is actually Tom Anderson, number 16 from Goodwood. Interesting to see best on ground was a Goodwood player, but he had 24 touches at 83%. Quite humorously, it was the number 16 from Spock who was awarded the thongs in what might have been a little error. So Peter Walsh, the sound and voice of the ABC for over 4 decades, he does the game in Bendigo. He sent through the message number 16 and they thought it was number 16 from Spock. So you might see a photo pop up of Ed Locken and the boys went rapturous in the change rooms. Ed, keep the thongs, but you weren't best on ground. So there's that. Anyway, looking at some of the Dartfish stats that matter, Goodwood just not effective use of the ball. They had 54 more touches and they had 2 more scoring shots. But again, Goodwood down by 25 points at half time. Hard to win a game when you're 4 goals down at half time. Same amount of inside 50s, they're just not taking their chances. Let's have a look at the player of the year. It was 1 vote, Will Irwin from Spock. 2 votes, Charlie McCarthy from Goodwood. And as I've already mentioned, best on ground, Tom Anderson from Goodwood. The question now is where to for Goodwood. On to our next game, and it was at Karen Rolton. Old Iggy's, 2 goals, 5, 17. Well, they copped a 133-point dacking. They had their pants pulled down. There's no other way to put it. Well, there probably is, but that's what I'm saying. PAC, 23 goals, 12, 150. I can't remember a Div 1 team losing by that much. I'm sure they have, but I don't remember. Goal scorers, that man, Juice Davis, kicking 8, and a new recruit, who used to, returning player, I probably should say, Tyson Brazel kicked 7. 15 between them. I talked about the bookends of Curran and Brazel. Gee, they make all the difference. But our best on ground was the big blonde bombshell, Jordan Neal, number 30 from the ruck. He was dominant all day. He had 23 effective touches, 23 effective hit-outs, and gave that brilliant on-ball quartet, along with their friends, first use of the ball. And with that, you really can't stop PAC. If you look at the Dartfish stats that matter, and this is one of those times, old Iggies, if you've got something else to do, look away now, because this is ugly reading. Disposals, 414 to 221. Sorry for laughing. Scoring shots, 35 to 7. Inside 50s, 66 to 28. And this one here, 210 more effective disposals. That is simply taking the PI 55. Absolute smoking. Not surprisingly, the World Class Player of the Year are all from PAC, and you can probably guess who they are. 1 vote, Tyson Brazel, 7 goals. 2 votes, the Juice Davis, Jaden, with 8 goals, and best on ground, the ruckman, Jordan Neal. Final comments about the game? Well, I'd just like to leave you with this thought. Thank you. Okay, Glenunga and Broadies at Webb. And this one, again, a one-sided affair. It was the Rams, 16-13, 109, a 61-point solid defeat, really, of the Tigers from Broadview, 7-6, 48. Major goal kickers. Stephen Prosser kicked 5. He credits those 5 goals down to his dog Bailey, who gives him the strength, the friendship and the love he needs to go out there and get the ball every week. Well done, Stephen. Macca kicked 3 and Abe Davis kicked 3. For Brighton, O'Leary bagged another 2 after 2 from last week and getting in the best players last week. Good young footballer, young O'Leary. Well done. Our player in focus on footage is Abe Davis, former superstar, number 26 for Glenunga. He had 19 touches, took 5 marks and kicked 3 goals too. And when Abe is in the area, the clearance is all Glenunga's. If he doesn't win it, someone around him does. He's looking like one of the most important footballers in Division 1. Will he be the one to help propel Glenunga to the promised land? Having a look at some of those Dartfish stats that matter, well, Glenunga won all 4 quarters, which would have pleased Nathan Grimer and Grumpy assistant coaches. There's a couple there. Hello, Beachy. A repeat stoppage game. They just thrive on it. 52 to 27 inside 50s. They get it in. They suffocate you. It's hard to get it out. They discipline. They pair off. Good luck stopping them. One of the ones that blows my mind, in a 61-point win, they only had 2 more disposals, so their ball usage is right there. One statistical area Broadview dominated was the uncontested marks. 36 more uncontested marks. So Glenunga will let you chip it around, but if you're not doing any damage, they don't care. Also, one other very special award, it was Ladies' Day recently, and Lucas Dragakis has been unseated as the sexiest man at Glenunga, but well done to Nick Egar, getting one back for the Gingers, recently named sexiest man at Glenunga. So congratulations, Nick. I'll tell you the award he'd rather win, though, the Roll the Dice Player of the Year award, where it was all Glenunga. 1 vote to the Snips, Semi Parsons. 2 votes to Harry Prosser, otherwise known as Steve, and 3 votes to Abe Davis. All right, they were all our games this week. So, of course, that player of the year that we talk about so often, because what a prize it is. Looking at the leaderboard, and I can't see the leaderboard myself, but my notes tell me that Sam Gray's making a move. I've seen him get 6 votes. You've still got Bradley, McKay and Ralph all on 5 votes, but the 2 men sitting atop, Bo Schwartz and Blake Penny on 8 votes. Others making their move, Seb Kerish, among others. Let's have a little look at the ladder now, if we can, please. Hopefully the ladder just came up then. If it didn't, I'm just an idiot clapping. And it's a pretty clear trend. Glenunga 6-0 sit on top. PAC second, 5-1. They look like the standout teams. 3 teams battling to be there. All on 4-2. Sacred Heart, Port and Gullies. I mentioned it last week. I called it the final 5 set. And gee, it looks absolutely set now. They're 2 games clear and a huge percentage from Broadies and Brighton 2 and 3. And then the bottom 3 all on 1 and 5. Goodies, Spock and Iggy's credited with a win after last week's points drama for St. Peter's. All right. Let's have a look at this week's games. It's round 7, Saturday, 3rd of June. We're going to start with 6th place Broadview, hosting 9th place Spock at Broadview Oval. Spock, technically, you could argue, have won their last 2 games, even though they've only been credited 1, which is just showing a little bit of good form. Broadview can be a little bit inconsistent for mine. This one's really, really hard to tip. I'll go with the home side, but will be not shocked if Spock get the win. In our next one, it's Goodwood Saints versus Old Iggy's. It's 8th versus 10th. To suggest both teams need a win is an understatement. Who will get it? At home, surely Goodwood will get the chocolates after a 6-week break from the winner's circle. Our next one is absolute cracker. This one, these teams will meet, I'd suggest, at least 3 times this year. It's Sacred Heart hosting Teacher Gully, and it's at the Sacred Heart Senior School, which is with all due respect, the nicer of the 2 ovals. A really good place to watch football and new developments. So get on down if you're in the area. Sacred Heart and Teacher Gully. Sacred Heart is being a little bit more consistent at this stage, and I think they'll get the chockies. Next one, PAC 2nd versus Brighton 7th. Brighton have upset teams this year. They can if you snooze, you lose with Brighton. But PAC have had their bad week, and I think this one will be a comfortable Prince Alfred victory. And our stream team game of the round. That's right, I'm back on board with Filthy Phil Hurden. Quite clean, ironically, Phil is. It's Port District in 4th place, the reigning premiers hosting Glenunga in 1st place. I can tell you what you can expect from this game. You can expect high scores, plenty of tackling, plenty of pressure, plenty of head over the ball, full-on commitment. It's Ramsey versus Grimer in the coach's box. Who will get the chocolates is anyone's guess. Glenunga are undefeated. Until they lose a game, I won't stop tipping them. So I'll take the Rams in that one. This has been Tommy Javor with the Div 1 wrap. Stay tuned for more from 2 very handsome blokes named Matt and Tommy.
Welcome back to Between the Posts. You've got Matty Garland, Tommy Javor. What's up next, Tommy?
Well, it's time for a buddy bet, my friend. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to find out. There should be a nice little QR, isn't that arrogant when I do that? A nice little QR code flashing up to help you out with buddy bet. Just keeping track of the buddy bet scores. I'm 4-0 against Tony, 1-0 against Jad, and 1-1 against Phil. But I'm here today with someone who actually doesn't mind a pun. So this one will be a bit more interesting, won't it?
Certainly will. I'm actually doing the PAC Brighton game this Saturday.
Well, that's going to be a PAC win. It's a bit easier, I would have thought.
Well,
let's make it interesting. You know punting. What can we do here?
Well, I was looking at 60 plus, but there's plenty of rain about, particularly early in the week. Track could be muddy. I'm going to go PAC under 39.5.
Ooh. It's at PAC?
It is.
PAC, what beautiful new facilities, but unfortunately the oval is still very conducive to mud, let's say. I'll take a little bit of PAC 40 plus. My man Juice Davis to kick another bag. You are on, my friend. The buddy bet is set. TJ, PAC 40 plus. You've got PAC 1 and 30. Now what happens if Brighton get the chocolates? What do we do then?
Well, I'm obviously I'm the winner. So anything
that
under
did work
39.
out well for we did it.
Yeah, so I've got under 39 plus Brighton, but going to be a cracking game.
Yeah.
But
thank you so much to Buddy Bet, one of our fantastic sponsors. Get on board Buddy Bet. They are great. We've shown you how. But please, as always,
gamble responsibly. Welcome to this week's Breakthrough Mental Health Men's Division 2 review after round 6. I'm Matt Gale, your host this evening. The Golden Grove Kookaburras are officially the team to beat in Division 2 this season, and are certainly top of the ladder after their excellent result against Athelston on the weekend. They've had a 5-game running streak at the moment with an average of 46 points over that duration. Former Gold Coast Suns, Central District and Nord strongly built utility Joshua Glenn has been a key figurehead amongst that winning streak with 3 Best Players Awards amongst the 6 games, and my mate Lewis Johnson also going great guns. It's hard to see a team beating them in the short term, but the Kookaburras could actually be further ahead as far as the percentage is concerned. They've been dominating the season, however, they've kicked inaccurately somewhat and only kicked over 50% in 2 of their 6 encounters this season so far. So out of those other 4 games, they've kicked 5 goals 11, 11 goals 17, 10 goals 22 and 8 goals 14, which equates to 34 goals 64. So if they can sharpen up their goal kicking, they're going to be pretty hard to beat for the remainder of the season. Got a very favourable draw coming up. They could be 8-1 at the halfway mark as they turn for home. Athelston's favourite son, Mitch Grigg, has returned to the Raggies this season. Big name in Division 2. Been named in the best 4 out of 6 starts this year and have to be the favourite for the Breakthrough Mental Health Division 2 medalist at the third of the way through the season. Grigg, of course, played 20 AFL games with the Adelaide Crows and won back-to-back Magarey medals in 2017 and 18. And the ball magnet with the rake and left foot should shorten into favouritism on your buddy bet as the season progresses. The big question today, and the $64,000 question is, are Payneham Norwood Union the real deal with their 5-1 record while sitting second on the ladder? Now, they've had 2 wins under a goal, a 4-point loss against Athelston and a 4-point win against the bottom side, North Haven, over the past month. So does their form really stack up as a top 2 contender? I'll let you work there, and that'll certainly play out as the season progresses. Foss Camden's fortunes have turned around after a 0-2 start to the season. They've won 4 on the trot. They're up and about, but they say form is only temporary. And with 2 nail-biting victories by 5 points against Salisbury North and 3 points against Ross Trevor Old Collegians, that may certainly be the case. They'll be tested over the next month, however, as they face Edwardstown and Payneham Norwood Union away and Adelaide Uni and Athelston at home. So we'll find out more about them and their true form very, very soon over the next month. Adelaide University started the season in style, but they've dropped their past 3, including a 1-point thriller against Payneham Norwood Union, and got upset by 7 points on their home deck against the ever-improving Henley Sharks on the weekend. Their next month may determine whether they make the top 5 or not, as they play Ross Trevor away, Athelston at home, Foss Camden away and North Haven at home. The Breakthrough Mental Health Men's Division 2 was flipped on its head a few weeks ago when Salisbury North had their scores and premiership points removed. Now, they've certainly paid the price for an oversight and clerically. However, having said that, we're pretty sure expect them to make a charge for the finals. If not, they'll definitely shape it as the season progresses. Round 7, Breakthrough Mental Health Buddy Bets. Please gamble responsibly. And this week's game sees second place Payneham Norwood Union coming up against Salisbury North. My big tip is that Payneham Norwood Union will win over 25.5 points. The top side plays bottom side. Golden Grove takes on North Haven at home. You'd expect Golden Grove to push their percentage well beyond the 70 mark with a 60-point plus win this week. 7th place Edwardstown take on 4th place Foss Camden at home. I'm expecting the Towns to get a home win on their home deck. 9th place Henley takes on Athelston. After their spirited victory on the weekend, I'm tipping that the Henley Sharks will be up at quarter time. However, Athelston to win the overall game. And in the match of the round, 6th place Ross Trevor Old Collegians takes on 5th place University at home. Ross Trevor desperate for a win, but I suspect this will be an absolute thriller, and you can put your money where your mouth is. Both teams under 15.5 points. Obviously gambling responsive for Buddy Bet. That's all for this time around. I'll see you in 3 weeks where we will do a mid-season review. Till then, bye for now.
Welcome back to Between the Post, and it's my pleasure now. I'm in your neck of the woods, Matty Gale, Division 2. You've let me in, so thank you so much. You're doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Good to be here, Tommy.
So they sent me, obviously we got to Div 1 game each week. They sent me out to Div 2 this week for what was, and I've called it the best minor round game for atmosphere I've ever been to. It was the Indigenous round for Salisbury North, and let me just say, no one does it like Salisbury North. Mate, you should guess some of the names that were there.
Golden Handshake, Peter Malinauskas.
Yes, he certainly was there. I thought you were going to say Golden something else there. It was a who's who. There was an elders luncheon where we paid our respect. And look, it's really important I pay respects properly. And I just want to give you the list of names of some of these. I had 11 people join me on commentary. So some of the names: Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas; Kiam Ma, the Minister for Aboriginal Affairs; Katrina Hildyard, the Minister for Sport, Rec and Racing. She commentated with me, and she was all right, mate.
I just think he's amazing. And Kiam Ma, and of course all of the Honourable Zoe and the Honourable Katrina. I mean, they are just so dedicated, committed to this kind of thing. And of course, how lucky is most of these First Nation people who played football, really good ones.
Play-by plays. I had Zoe Bettison was there, the Minister for Tourism and Multicultural Affairs; Blair Boyer; Tony Zapier, federal member for Macon, good mate from my late father; Matt Burnell; Michael Brown, member for Flory; John Fulbrook. They were all there. It was simply phenomenal. Mayor Gillian Aldridge, Deputy Mayor Chad Buchanan, Simon Warner, the President, and a man who, seriously, now you interviewed Michael Dean tonight for their Indigenous round for O'Sullivan's Beach. Where is that again? That's OSB on.
Yes, it is.
This Saturday.
Yeah, O'Sullivan's Beach, Lonsdale Lions playing against Hackham this weekend.
Yep. So they'll obviously be having welcome to country, smoking ceremony, and everything that goes with it.
Suspect so.
Yes.
Definitely the case.
So, a man by the name of Vincent Buckskin Jr. He commentated with me throughout the day. He was simply phenomenal. He did the welcome to country and told me the story. I was so moved. I asked him to stay for the day, but I did have 11 commentators come through. He told the story of the lands, how we meet on Agana. He's an educator in Aboriginal education, and it's just humbling to hear the stories. Like, you and I, we live in our bubble, but thousands of years of culture. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm an Aboriginal education teacher myself, so I'm very passionate about Indigenous affairs and particularly this week being Reconciliation Week.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned it on the broadcast on the weekend. I will get to the game, I promise. But I think this is bigger than the game. I mentioned on the broadcast, my wife teaches Aboriginal history, and she's educated me. So I felt like I was woken all my life. I've always been lots of Aboriginal friends, close mates, like always. But the things I've learned in the last couple of years since she's educated me, I just wish everyone knew it so they could understand. And culturally, I just don't think we always do enough. So I think these rounds are fantastic. I mean, you've interviewed Michael Dean, the Guernseys. He told you the story behind their Guernsey, didn't he?
Certainly did. Yeah. The other one to look out for this week is the Golden Grove Kookaburras, which is designed by Shane Edwards, former Richmond player, who's working at the Crows. So anyone out there, suggest you get hold of that Golden Grove Kookaburras as well. It's magnificent.
Son of Greg Edwards, who is the current CEO at Central. So look, these Indigenous days, they are bigger. The smoking ceremonies, and look, hopefully you're having overlaid the smoking ceremony where both teams are out there. The girls' teams was a quadruple header. And it was just simply phenomenal. So, I mean, again, Jake Buckskin and his son on commentary, they were wonderful. Katrina Hildyard, she joined me. And she actually calls some footy in the Southern Footy League as well. I always say these streams are great. But we better talk about the game a little bit, mate, because Edwardstown, I think they were 3-2, sitting 7th. One game off equal top. So it's a very tight race there. We don't want to talk too much about there was a point discrepancy at Salisbury North, mate. But what was the final score there for the mighty Hawks? They were too good.
Yeah, Salisbury North Football Club 8-9-57 defeated Edwardstown 3-8-26, a little bit of inaccuracy from Edwardstown on behalf. Goal scorers, the main goal scorer today on that during the game was Jake Wagner, and he received the Archie Thongs. If you haven't got yourself a pair, make sure you do. Get a walk and a massage at the same time. And the beanie recipient was Cooper Wilson.
Yes, he was at Glenunga last year, the pleasure of coaching. I didn't choose it. Eugene actually chose that, the coach. And Eugene, again, actually sacrificed his pre-game time to come in the luncheon. Eugene came on the air. He sent players over, assistant coaches. It was phenomenal. Jake Wagner, great story as well. Had a good week in the twos recently. Do you know what he kicked?
No.
18 straight. 18 straight. I love it when people ply their craft at the club people, comes up to the seniors, purple patch after purple patch, finds a way to score 4 goals. The result reflects the margin. It was a dour, tight, tough game, but in the end, Salisbury North too good. So it was, of course, a breakthrough mental health round game. So again, if you get a chance to go back and have a look at the stream and listen to some of the great commentary, at times we don't always call the game, but again, Jack Buckskin, they call him. Not Jake, sorry, apologies. I think I might have called him that in the broadcast a couple of times. He called it in his native tongue, mate. It was amazing.
Oh.
It was simply brilliant. And again, I talk about these 3 guys all the time. They help bring it together. Eugene does amazing things, but Simon wanted the chairman, David Hood, and Bo Green, Damien Bride, you guys, you're creating a connection with the community and culture. I respect you for it. And Salisbury North, look out, they're coming, mate.
They are. They'll definitely shape the finals if they're not in there already.
Yeah, beautifully done. Thanks for just having a little look again at Indigenous round. Tremendous. Hopefully you've enjoyed some of the pictures that have been overlaid, and we look forward to it for many years to come. And welcome back to Between the Bouts. This is a very special segment where we're going to talk about one of our sponsors and have a little look at what they have actually done. That great sponsor is, of course,
Archie's.
Archie's. They are more than just a thong, they're more than just footwear. I always jokingly say you can dress them up or down. Archie's isn't just their name, Archie's is the way they exist. They exist with an inner arch that supports your thong. And what that means, mate, and you've got a pair, you wear them, don't you?
Certainly do. Nice pink pair.
You got a pair, I've got the powder blue. And yes, not going to lie, Mother's Day, I grabbed a couple of pairs for the family. Your toes don't curl, so their comfort, their support, their everything. Now we award these, I give a pair of these out for the TJ award each week at the stream team, which is fantastic. Do you give a pair out every game you do?
Certainly do, and I love wearing mine. It's like getting a massage as you're walking around, and the players absolutely love them.
We got some great shots. Now there's some stories behind this. We're going to look now at Jake Wagner. He won the Salisbury North pair in the Division 2 Indigenous round on the weekend. Now I'm going to take you back to 1984. I wrote a song in music called You Can't Wear Socks With Thongs, You Can't Wear Socks With Thongs, You Can't Wear Socks, and I'm the only one that sings it because it didn't really get released or anything, but it was thanks to the St Martin's music class, St Paul's music class. But Jake Wagner, he whacked them on straight away. Eugene Warrior took the photo, and I reckon you get a good look at Jakey Wagner's fantastic footwear there, mate. Now I'm just going to have a quick look as well because we've got some interesting statistics, Matt. He is the 600th recipient of a pair of Archie's thongs. I don't think that includes my mum and maybe the pair you and I took. We've given out 600 pairs of thongs. Now, what you don't get is Dartfish is an Australian company. It is huge. Across Australia, Archie's have supported grassroots with approximately 2,000 pairs. We got WA Outback, WA Country and other country leagues in the state. They're family owned, they come from a humble country background and more than happy to promote local sport. So, we've got some great Archie's winners. Who's going to be... Oh, actually, I should mention Jake Trengrove has won 7 pairs. So the entire Trengrove family has got their thongs. Who's the first photo we're looking at, mate?
Looks as though it's Benny McGlynn.
Yes. He plays for?
Plays for the Wentworth, and the Sunraysia Football League. So Benny McGlynn, 2005 Premiership player, I believe, with the Sydney Swans.
Well, it is too. It is that Benny McGlynn.
It is.
There's another photo about to flash up, hopefully. Now, that's, of course, our good friend Indy Rogers in Division 3 with a Hope Valley Award winner.
Billy Clay from Wickepin in the Upper Great Southern League in Western Australia.
Country there, so a great shot of Billy Clay there. I'll tell you what, absolutely outstanding, the Archie's thongs. And we'll continue to give out the Archie's thongs. I've got to take these off, I'm going to pass out at every single Division 1 game, won't we?
Certainly will. Looking at the ground this week, you'll find your Archies with your main commentator for the best on ground.
Stick with us, we'll be back after these sponsorship messages.
Welcome everyone. So my name is Vince Cosme and I'm here for this week. It's my turn for Division 5. As Division 5 we've now had 6 games like all the others. Interesting league that we've got faced in that division at the moment. So at the moment a couple of teams have skipped away in Jeps Cross and Kilburn, both undefeated, and that is obviously the match of the season so far. That comes up this week. Kilburn travel up the road to Jeps Cross to face off. we will have both teams on large winning streaks. We've got Jeps Cross on a 10-game winning streak, Kilburn on a 7-game winning streak. So one of those is going to be broken this weekend going forward, so it'll be interesting to see how that happens. Around the rest of the division, Kernelot Gardens sitting reasonably comfortably in third spot, a couple of games behind. One of their 2 losses, though, was to West Croydon, who are footing up the table, along with Eastern Park, who actually started pretty well with a couple of narrow losses away to the top 2 undefeated sides. But then in round 4, after I was last on, and the coach of Elizabeth, Trent, got the award for Coach of the Week after they started very poorly in their first 2 games, but since then have turned it around, have won 3 of their last 4 games. Amazingly, are sitting in the 5 at the moment, but have the worst percentage in the league, which is quite interesting. But the person alongside me today, Stephen Johnson, is about to play his 650th, just let me say that again, 650th game of SA Amateur League football. Included 198 games for Hope Valley, and last weekend played his 450th and 451st game, doubling up with C's and a bit in the B's as well for Elizabeth, and then was fortunate enough to watch them beat Woodville South by a solitary point in somewhat controversial circumstances, with the scoreboard actually showing that the teams were level at the end of the game until the umpires actually conferred, and it had been worked out that Elizabeth had actually won that game by 1 point. So they've actually won 3 of their last 4, all victories by under a couple of goals, and are actually doing quite well. So Steve, welcome to the program, and 649 and 650 games this weekend, 198 at Hope Valley. Let's talk about that first. So you were there till about the mid-90s?
Yeah, I played up until 1995. So won a A grade grand final in '94. Decided.
And our good friend Tony Neal, who obviously hosts the show and does a lot of work, was your coach back then?
Yeah, he was coaching back, I reckon, in the early 90s. He was my B grade coach.
Yeah.
Then I made my way up into the A grade, thinking at the end of, I think, 91, and then played the last 4 years of A grade footy out there. Yep. Lucky enough to win the A grade flag in '94, which had been a while coming.
Yeah.
So that was good, and then played 1 more year after that, and there was a bit of an exodus at Hope Valley, and ventured out to Elizabeth and started there in '96.
So out to the Ponderosa, what drew you out to Elizabeth back in the mid-90s?
Well, it's funny, I built a house out there in '91, and I had a couple of cousins out there that were playing at Elizabeth, and then they were asking me for a few years to come out and venture out to Elizabeth, and I kept saying, no, I want to keep playing at Hope Valley. I just made my way into the A grade, and then, as I said, lucky enough to have my goal of winning an A grade flag out there, which was great, and with a couple of my really good mates that I played all my juniors with out there and that as well. So it felt like the mission was accomplished, and then decided to go out to Elizabeth were just joining Amateur League back then.
Yep.
I reckon they started in '95, or '94. And they were just starting to make their way up, through the grades and that as well. And I thought a good chance to go out there and give it a crack out there, and see how I went out there, and played a couple of years of B grade, trying to work my way in, because they were pretty competitive in the early '90s as well, and mid '90s, and so played a couple of years of B grade, then pushed my way up into the A grade in the early 2000s, and probably played 5 or 6 years of A grade out there, and then went back into the Bs. And ventured from Bs to Cs, and still there.
Still there, and amazingly, you haven't had a break through that whole period.
No,
just been continuous.
Yeah, I haven't missed 1 year. So even with COVID, I thought that might have rocked it, and we might have lost, but to the amateur leagues,
To their credit.
Credit, yeah. They kept us going. So
Yeah.
we only played half a year,
Yeah,
but
correct,
at least
yeah.
we played half a year. A lot of associations cancelled it. So
They did,
yeah.
especially interstate. You know, we heard a lot about a lot of the Victorian leagues got cancelled for the year, along with many others. So
Yeah.
you've had some obvious highlights now. I understand it was only 2-3 years ago, I think, maybe you played in a premiership with your lad and you went undefeated that season as well.
Yeah. So that was in the C grade. We that was 21. Yeah, 21. So that was really good. But as I said, we played undefeated. We drew a game, so it was a bit funny, but we were still undefeated.
Correct.
So we but it was really good. We had played with my son, so it was always an ambition to play footy together, which we did, and to win a flag, was just amazing. So I don't think many people get to play with their son, let alone in a premiership together. So
and you've been there. It's getting up towards close to 30 years now, obviously. So tell us about the fact that I'm sure you just haven't played football at the club for 30 years. There's been plenty of other work you've done there.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much I haven't done, to be honest with you. Started playing, then I started junior coaching. I did junior coaching for probably 8 years. Then went on the committee and was junior treasurer for a while. Then the committees combined and ended up being president for a couple of years, which was in, I think, about 2017, 2018. I was the president out there. The club was at a bit of a low point. We all banded together to really try to bring it back up, and which we have done. So it's a lot better position than what it was, back then. But the committee now are doing a great job. So, and they're a little bit younger than myself and that. So they were all keen to get on board and keep pushing through, which was really good. That's what the club needs is the younger brigade coming through and pushing it through. So it's good.
Yeah, it's what every club needs, and the fact that you've mentioned you've got some of the next generation coming through and fulfilling some of those roles puts the club in some really good stead. Now, talk to us about this finish after you played both a bit of B's and C's on Saturday with the A grade. So
yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, it was an interesting finish to the A grade. So so they it was a pretty tight and little game. It was back and forth, and we all believed, on sitting on the bench, that we were 6 points down, even on the bench, because our team manager had us 6 points down. We kicked a goal with probably a minute and a half to go, as much as we knew, because it's a bit of a time-on situation. So you're a bit of a guess, and we thought it was about a minute and a half to go. Kicked a goal. The ball stayed around the middle, so no one really took any incentive to go forward. And siren went. The scoreboard was a draw. Our team manager has it a draw. And I think no one really knew what was going on. All the players just thought it was a bit of a draw, and the umpires and the goal umpires come together at the end like they do, and the goal umpires had us up by a point, both of them. So we were declared the winner by a point.
Yes,
so
a bit of a delayed reaction there.
It was, I think both teams were a bit lost. I think it was just a bit numb and like, oh, who's won? Have we, haven't we? And then it was a bit of a delayed reaction, and then all of a sudden we win. So it was a bit of an upset, because I don't think too many people expected us to beat Woody South down there. So.
Yeah, no, good result, and better result away from home 2 weeks ago, obviously in your local derby against Eastern Park. Now, interesting, as I mentioned before, that they've really dropped away after they started the season. Well, they were 1-2, but had two very, very competitive away losses to the two undefeated sides. But they sort of haven't come on since then. The other teams in the division, if I said you find yourself in the 5, it doesn't really matter what your percentage is. You've got more points than some of the teams below you. That's all that sort of matters. Trinity are around the mark as well, and between yourselves and probably Blackfriars, maybe Woodville South and even Pulteney, those teams on 2 wins. There's the 5th spot still up for grabs. You've got a reasonably good draw for your A grade. You think you've still got Kilburn to come in a couple of weeks, I think. But a couple of games with sides that are below you on the ladder in Pulteney and West Croydon this week.
West Croydon this week at home.
So there's opportunities there maybe to pinch another another couple of games and set yourself up for a good second half and really a crack at for the A grade to stay in the 5.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, we've lost a lot of players this year, so you know, everyone was a bit negative at the beginning. A lot of people around the, you know, Eastern Park areas and around the traps that, you know, Elizabeth were probably going to be undefeated this year. Not win at all this year, and, you know, be relegated. So to be, you know, 3-3 at this time of year is great. And just say we're playing West Croydon, who are bottom, and Pulteney, who are 8th. In the next 2 weeks, and then we finish with Kilburn at their home ground. So to finish the round 1,
finish the end of round 1.
Yeah.
And Trent's first year, obviously got off to a little bit of a tough start first couple of games. Tell us briefly what he's brought, especially through the pre-season and more so in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, Trent's great. We had Justin at the beginning of the year, and Justin got an opportunity out at Centrals, which no one was going to doubt that he was going to do if he had got that opportunity. It's a great opportunity, so good on him. And but Trent's been amazing. Trent, they offered Trent the A grade job just to take over. And he's been amazing. Like, he's kept everyone on board since there was even talk that people were going to leave when Justin left, which didn't happen. He kept everyone on board, and it's just kept everyone banded together. And it's strong. Even the A's, B's, and C's. They're all it's been really good from that perspective. And I think it's probably a bit of a fresh start. Justin had been there probably 4 years, I think, and get an A grade coach, and Trent been coaching the B grade, and now he's given some of those B grade lads that he'd been coaching an A grade opportunity,
and they're taking it.
And they're taking it, and then they're fairly young. There's a lot of young blokes in the A grade, and they're all doing really well. They've been given an opportunity, and so even a lot of the B grade this year is realistically our last year's C grade. Because we've lost a lot of players, so everyone's been given an opportunity. And a lot of them have stood up. It's been the young kids that are getting in the best players every week, which is just that opportunity.
And good for the future of the club. So finally, tell us how big's the banner going to be on Saturday? And I'm sure they'll be cheering you off. And then is there? I wouldn't think 650, but certainly just a few lagers to enjoy on Saturday night after the game. Yeah,
to be honest with you, I hope there is no banner. I'm not into running through banners and everything like that. But I'll probably get cheered off, and I'll probably hopefully just crawl home, I reckon, after we've had a few beers and
and hopefully another win.
Hopefully we can knock off West Croydon in the A's, B's, and the C's. It'll be a great day to finish.
So just let me say that again, folks. 649 games at the moment, 198 with Hope Valley, and the balance of 449, if my maths is correct, with Elizabeth. So 450 this week. 451 with Elizabeth. 450th was last week. So 452nd this week to make 650. So it's just, they're mind-boggling numbers. You do need a calculator to work it out. So Steve, congratulations. Firstly, last week on your milestone with Elizabeth, and then on the league milestone this weekend. It's just an amazing effort. The only question that remains is how much longer?
Well, I reckon just because of my wife, I think she's sick of me waking up sore and hardly being able to move on Sundays. So I'd say this will probably be my last year after about 38 years of playing amateur league footy. So I reckon it might be time to hang up the boots and go fishing, I think. So.
That sounds like a pretty good option. So again, congratulations, well done, and good luck on the weekend. Good luck for all 3 grades, and good luck to everyone in Division 5. I think you'll see me back in around about 3 or 4 weeks' time, and we'll do a mid-season review. So thanks to everyone, and we're going to go back to a short break, and then they'll be back with more straight after that.
Matty, it's about that time to go around the league. What do you got for us, mate? Where did they go on Thursday night?
Last Thursday night, Channel 9 went live with Tommy Wren, and they went to the Para Hills Football Club. Big congratulations to Brian Holmes for being nominated as the Powerade ambassador. So Brian is one of them extremely committed club volunteers who live and breathe football 7 days a week for the Para Hills Football Club, taking on numerous actions across both juniors and also seniors. He's often seen setting up ovals and the club for Saturday and Sunday match days, helping with the canteen, assisting with the bar, social events, club cleaning, club management, and much, much more. So big congratulations, and his work is truly appreciated. Big thanks to Powerade Australia.
Yes, now, mate, touching on Bryza. Now, I did mention last week, Brian, Simon, Michael Cummins, all the guys I work with through my work at the Sample at the North Adelaide. I'm lucky enough to work with these great club people. How is it not in there? Brian, under 14 premiership coach. He's out there working on the Auskick. So these aren't just words. These are the real actions of real people. He is a superstar, Brian. I rang him today, took my call. Not all volunteers take calls during business hours. Absolutely brilliant. Had a meeting with him last year. Really, really fun guy. I met with him last November. Everything I've asked him to do to help him build his club, he's done. And Para Hills doing great things. Great example of this. And they've got some good juniors coming around. I get to coach a couple of their juniors in the North under 14. So, yeah. Thank you, Brian. Well done, Para Hills. And, of course, as you said, thanks to Powerade Australia. It was Daniel Weecher and Braden Hart. They had the kick to win $1,000 in 5AA's Kick for Cash. Daniel Weecher and Braden Hart, what did they do?
Unfortunately, no chocolates, no cash.
Come on, community footballers in South Australia, kick the cash, $1,000. Unlucky Daniel, bad luck Braden, maybe next time. Of course, SA Gourmet Meat supplied 100 sausages and 100 Billy donuts. Well, that's what they're meant to supply, but I'm told they supplied double because they had all their juniors out, sevens all the way through. So well done to Para Hills. And of course, thanks to the Police Credit Union for the $500 cheque that was given to the Para Hills Football Club. Mate, take us for a drive through our sponsors, please.
Big thank you to all of our sponsors for this wonderful campaign, including 9 News Adelaide, Police Credit Union, Villiers Bakery, love a Villiers pie with sauce, SA Gourmet Meats, West End, the best end of the day, Powerade and 5AA.
You fond of a West End?
Don't want to tip it myself.
There's one of South Australia's truly great beers. The Red Death. Many a morning I've woken up thankful that you were part of my life. We're turning her over, mate, because this Thursday you're going to a club very close to my heart also. And I just want to say I don't book these clubs, but it just happens the way it is. This club is in their 100th year. They are going gangbusters in the seniors. They were on their knees 7 or 8 years ago before guys like Danny and ladies like Caroline and Nikki got involved, and now they have 12 teams. They've got over 35s, they've got women's, they've got youth girls teams, they've got juniors teams, they've got a brilliant Auskick. They are brilliant. What is that club?
Heading off to the Kilburn Footy Club from this Thursday night, drop in from 5:30 p.m.
Those mighty chicks. Make sure you get there for the donuts and that before reptiles like Andrew Graham start rubbing them in. They are an absolute ripper of a club, Kilburn, my home away from home, love them. And last but certainly not least, mate, it's the Round 5 West End Player of the Week, and it's a lady from the women's division in the Lockleys Footy Club. What have they won, mate? Something close to your heart.
A nice free carton of West End Draft. Collections and details are on our Facebook page.
Sing it with me. Let's do this word. The best end of the day is the West end of the day. And I'm not sure why we did that, but we did. And now that we've finished that unnecessary musical interlude, mate, tell us what do the people need to do?
Head over to our Adelaide Footy League Facebook page to vote for the Round 6 nominees. And this week you can vote for the Division 1 Port District Football Club, Division 3 Reserves Modbury, and the C6 Para Hills. The winner this week wins a carton of James Squire ginger beer. Love a good drop of ginger beer with spice rum. Thanks to Lion. Just like to mention that Ryan Rebick from the C6 Para Hills who was up to the voting, took off out of the blocks and on fire, and over 250 in just over 4 hours.
Now, I could be wrong here. I believe that's the same Ryan Rebick that was on one of those TV shows called that everyone's on there, reality TV shows, like a building one, I'm sure. And he came and gave me a quote at my house. He's an absolute ripper. May have even sponsored my other show, Community Bounce. Right, how many Ryan Rebicks from Para Hills could there be? Good looking unit too, don't worry about that. He's a great supporter of the Breakthrough Mental Health and played a ripper on Saturday in the Breakthrough Mental Health Community Round 250 votes within the first 4 hours. Well done, Rebs. You're an absolute star. And there's a bit of a note here. Get and have a look at some of the comments here. They're pretty good stuff. Some good banter going on, which we always love. Make sure you get on over to our page, get your votes in. Good luck to everyone participating. We'll be back after these messages.
Tom Wren is on the ground, teaming up with the Adelaide Footy League for Thursday Night Live. 9 years in the Adelaide Footy League, strengthening communities through footy.
Hi everyone, we have a special guest from Division 7, from the CMAX Clinical Research Division 7, and the head coach of the Sullivans Beach Lonsdale Lions is Michael Dean. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. We're here today to celebrate Indigenous Round, and this week is Reconciliation Week right across Australia, and the O'Sullivan Beach Lonsdale Lions have got on board. We haven't got the Guernsey today, but have a look at this magnificent t-shirt, which is almost exactly the same as the Guernsey itself.
It's a bit big for me, to be honest. We didn't have many sizes left. But obviously there's a line in the middle, and the maroon and white and the green and gold are converging, this is my understanding, converging in the middle to show unity between the two clubs that merged 20 odd years ago now. So yeah, that's my understanding of the design.
Brilliant. Michael, the O'Sullivan Beach Lions, Lonsdale Lions, moved away from the Great Southern League or the Southern League in 2018. How have you found it in the Adelaide Footy League thus far?
I was assistant coach the first year we came on to Shane Lynch, and we did really well. We got a lot of older guys back, and we made the grand final. Unfortunately, lost to Marion that year, but went up to Div 6, and to be completely honest, the last 4 years, obviously I stepped away and went to other places, did other things myself, but always followed, and we struggled a bit. Div 6, I think we might have won one game maybe, I'm not 100% sure. Just the older guys couldn't really cope with the pace as much as in Div 6, I think. Then we came back down to Div 7, and obviously we're a small club, we don't have juniors unfortunately, so when you start, you honestly, our golden generation players that made the finals in the Southern Leagues in the late 2000s, we all started retiring and stopped playing, and it was really hard to recover from that. Our junior program sort of didn't come across with us, and it created some problems, to be truthful. But you know, we're now getting them back on board, and this year we're slowly starting to build up, and we've got a lot of young kids. And one of the things I did was coming back on board this year was try to get the kids that played at our club in the mid-2000s back, and it's worked pretty well. We've got 4 or 5 of them back and playing again in A-grade footy for the club, and they brought friends across, and we've now got a really good group, a really young core group. 2 weeks ago we only had 6 players over 25 in the A-grade team, and one of those guys was 38, so it's a really good core group of players, and there's a bright future with the club these days, which maybe wasn't there a couple of years ago. As a life member and supporter, it wasn't there a couple of years ago, that we were all a bit worried. And the committee, the president, the football department are doing great things.
The Sullivan Beach Lonsdale Lions are currently 3-3, and they had a magnificent 39-point victory against the Houghton Districts on the weekend. The CMAX Clinical Research Division 7 pretty open this year. This week you celebrate Reconciliation Week with your Guernsey. You come up against Hackham.
Yep.
They've only won 1, you've won 3. How do you reckon to win it this week?
Hackham worry me. They score. Even on the weekend against Ingle Farm, I think they had 19 scoring shots. So they clearly know how to score, which is a positive at a footy club. You know, you want to be able to score against a top team, so you can come up and when they play the teams you want to beat, you want to score. So at least they know how to score, so it's going to be a worry. Not sure what obviously I haven't watched any of their games this year, but I know Hackham's a good club. Their coach is a good fella. I've played cricket against him a few times, and he's a nice guy, and I'm sure they're going to be tough to beat, and we're going to have to play our best footy to beat them. So.
On a less serious note, for the last question tonight from Michael Dean, the head coach of the Sullivan Beach Lonsdale Lions. We heard a little bit of a whisper along the grapevine that he sometimes brings a secondary ball in his pocket while he's playing golf. Any truth to that?
No, that's not true. I'm not very good at golf, so I think that's come from my nephew Kai, who plays at Morgan Parks, and I don't know if he's had a kick this year, so we'll leave it at that, eh?
Rumour or fact, the fact of the matter is the Sullivan's Beach Lonsdale Lions and the CMAX Clinical Research Division 7 proudly wearing their Indigenous round, or their Indigenous Guernsey this weekend. We wish them all the very best against Hackham and all the best for the rest of the season.
Right, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Gailey, it's time for one of the more popular segments on the show. Believe it or not, people like watching this more than listening to me talk. It's time for marks and goals of the week. But before we look at this week's goals, tell us, who took mark of the week last week?
Lee McCormack from the Division 6 Smithfield Footy Club. He's won the $100 Bianco Construction Supplies voucher thanks to Bianco Constructions.
You're having some sort of seizure there. And our goal of the week, where did you play, mate? Were you a goal sneak?
I was a full forward who didn't like passing off inside the arc.
No wonder we're getting along so well. Did you take over Tony Neal's number?
May have, yes I did.
Yeah, fantastic. I've heard that story a couple of times. It was Cameron Buchanan from Division 3 Seaton Ramblers Footy Club. He has won a $50 celebrations voucher. $50 free money. Now, which brings me to my next point. I have got a message from Dee Shepherd, who does an unbelievable work at the Adelaide Footy League. And Dee has asked me to mention the following. Pick up your bloody prizes. How hard is it? It doesn't actually say that. I'm just paraphrasing here. This is, look, please, if they're not collected by 31st of May, what do you say? You and me take all the celebrations vouchers, the Biancos. We'll go build a little hut and drink some beer in it responsibly, of course. That's not a bad thing. You're old.
There certainly is. Big thanks to Bianco and obviously the celebrations. So,
so please contact Dee or the league and collect your prizes. But mate, we've got obviously it is time for this week's goals and marks of the week. Have a look at these crackers from these wonderful exponents of Australian rules football.
Competitor with the hunger to compete. I am for the one who wants to get in their opponent's grill. I am the one who brings you the science. I am Neomorph. I am your protector.
Plays on immediately. Found someone he likes there. Oh, what a...
parting is with such sweet sorrow, Mr. Gale, but it is almost time for us. Well, it is time for us to say goodbye, isn't it? What a show it's been.
It's been magnificent, and thanks for having me on board this evening. It's been fantastic.
I am richer for the experience of sharing a table with you, mate. We really need to thank some of the great guests we had. I'll go first, mate, if that's all right. A man playing his 650th game, 650, as he said. Time to go fishing. Might be time for something different. 650. Stephen Johnson, I make light of it. 451 at Elizabeth, and I think before that he might have been at Hope Valley. I haven't watched the interview yet, but 650 games, simply phenomenal. So well done to Vince Cosme on that interview.
Yeah, also big thanks to Michael Dean, the head coach of the Sutherlands Beach and Lonsdale Lions. We've got the massive Indigenous round coming up this week, and we wish them all the best against Hackham.
Yes. Now, mate, where are you this weekend? What Div 1 game are you covering?
I've got the PAC Brighton game. I have gone under 39 against you in the Buddy Bet.
Yes.
Obviously, gambling responsibility. I think it'll be a bit higher, but that's between you, me, and the goalposts.
Yes, hopefully a closer game than last week for you, though. It was a one-sided affair. PAC 2 weeks in a row, though. Pretty good team to watch play footy.
Yeah, they played absolutely superb football last weekend. I'm pretty sure they'll be around the mark come the business end of the season.
Yes, and I'm down at the Rectangle at Largs Reserve to watch the mighty Port District, the defending champions, take on the might of Glenunga. Is the wolf climbing the hill hungrier than one that sits atop it? It's going to be, well, as good a game as you could hope for. Unfortunately, though, I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be it's going to be a ball buster. But I'm looking forward to it, getting behind the mic with my good friend Phil Herden. Again, thanks to our experts, which was you, Division 2, and Vinny Cosme and myself this week. We'll be back with different experts next week. To speculate, I think it might be 4 and 7, but I'm not completely sure. Of course, you can find us on social media. We always appreciate you voting. Now, we won't be back next week, will we?
Certainly won't. We'll have a week off next week.
Well, the show won't have a week off. We'll have a week off. I'm going to have multiple weeks. I'll have the rest of the season. Tony will return to be your host. I've been filling in for a couple of weeks. It's been a ton of fun and getting a chance to sit with you and Jad last week and see the experts. And someone who doesn't get enough credit, our patient is Jimmy behind the camera. We had a couple of outtakes tonight, didn't we? So, Jimmy, we love you, mate. We love the work you do. Of course, I do have my own television show, Community Bounce, which can be found on Facebook. I appreciate the show allowing me to mention that one as well. I accidentally introduced this show as Community Bounce once because I'm not that bright, where I head out to the various leagues around South Australia. It's all good for footy, mate. It's an exciting time. Any final last words, my friend?
No, magnificent to be involved with the Adelaide Footy League this year, and good luck to all the teams this weekend, particularly if you're donning your Indigenous round jerseys.
Yeah, love the Guernseys. I love the concept. I love the fact that it's all happening. Doesn't matter where you go. I say it all the time. There's 100 people at every club and 1,000 great stories. In the Adelaide Footy League, we're back next week with Between the Posts.
I'm Vince Cosme.
Thanks for watching Between the Posts.
Thanks for watching Between the Posts.
Thanks for watching Between the Posts.
Hi, I'm Morgan Knight.
I'm Phil Herden.